Hello all, welcome back to my channel where I solve LeetCode's problem of the day with you all. Before proceeding to the video, let me tell you about myself. I'm a guardian at LeetCode and I've solved more than 1000 essay questions across various platforms. So I have been through this grind and I know what it takes to be in this field. So I could definitely help you with the best explanations and strategies, right? So let's begin solving the question without wasting any time. So it's lead code problem number 3443 and it's a medium level question, and the question title says the maximum Manhattan distance after k changes, right? Let's look at the question now. So the question says that you are given a string S consisting of the characters NSEW, where S of I indicates movement in an infinite grid. So as these characters suggest, it's for those four directions, right? North and south and east and west, right? You have to move by 1 unit in each direction as given, right? Initially you are at the origin, you 0, you can change at most k characters to any of the four directions, right? So maximum Manhattan distance from the origin that can be achieved at any time by performing the movements in order, right? So Manhattan distance, what is it actually is, if you are given two cells x of y in this, so the Manhattan distance is the absolute difference between the coordinates. Like if it's the x coordinate, you have to find out the absolute difference between the x coordinates of the two cells, that's xi minus yj, and the absolute difference between y coordinates of those two cells, right? And then you have to take the sum of it. This is all it says. Like here in this question, let's look at this NWSE. Let's understand this question, and then we will make our own test case and we'll have a better understanding to it. So the example given is NWSE, right? And your K is 1. Okay. So, okay, cool. So this is what it is given here. So if k is given 1, if we see this uh, string and we traverse through it and we make a grid, right? So if I have made a grid here and I'll simply now start from my origin 0, 0 and will traverse through the grid according to the characters that's given in my string. So first it's given n, so I shall proceed 1 unit in north, right? And then it's w, so I'll go in west by 1 unit, okay? And then it's south, okay, I'll go to south by 1 unit, and it's east. So I'm back at origin if I am following the sequence of the string, right? So earlier my initial point was 0, 0, that was origin, right? And my final point has again become 0, 0. So if you see the Manhattan distance as suggested in the question only, the formula was given. So if you follow this, so the absolute difference between x and y, x and x coordinate of these two cells would be 0 minus 0, right? And this of for the y cell, right? And then you have to take the sum. So you are getting here 0. But here it has said that if you somehow change any of the coordinate by, and you can change any of these characters for at most k times, right? Like here 1 is given, so it's either I would not change any character and keep it as it is, right? Or maybe I can change any of the character by 1 time, right? So if you see that if I try to change my s to n, right? If I try to change my s to n, So my new string shall become NWNE, right? This shall become my new string if I am using my k. I have now reduced it to sorry, I'm utilizing my k here. Okay, so okay, let's make my coordinates. So here's the coordinate, and now let's traverse through it. So first it's north, so I'll proceed in north by 1 unit, and then it's west. Okay, I'll go in west by 1 unit, and then it's again north, so I'll go in north by 1 unit from that point, and then it's going to be east, that is this. All right, so this is going to be my final position. So if you see the coordinate of your final position shall be 0 comma 2, right? And here it is already 0 comma 0 only, right? So if you calculate the Manhattan distance of this particular string now, so you shall find that 0 minus 0, the absolute difference of 0 minus 0 plus the absolute difference of 2 minus 0, right, which will be equal to 0 plus 2, and that will be 2, right or not, right? But this is like the final Manhattan distance. But if we see, if we try to check it out at every point, like if I have traversed to n, like wait, let me make this again, so it shall be more easier for you to understand. Okay, so first I have started at my initial point, okay, at 0 comma 0, and I have to move n in one. I have to move in north by 1 unit, so I'll move in north by 1 unit. At every point we will find out the Manhattan distance, right? So if I have proceeded to north, so now currently my Manhattan distance according to it will be what, here it is 0 comma 1, right? So the Manhattan distance would be definitely 1, right? Then it has said to move to west by 1 point, so I have now moved to west, so the coordinate shall be -1 and it shall be -1 and 1, right? So my new Manhattan distance shall be 2. How I found this? How I found this? 0 minus 1 minus 0, the absolute value of this, plus 1 minus 0, right? This was it. So 1 plus 1, that shall be 2. That's how I found out 2. Next up, what we will do? We will now proceed to north, okay, by 1 unit. So here what will happen, it will again the coordinate for this point shall be -1 and 2. So now your new Manhattan distance from the origin shall be 3, right? I just told you the procedure earlier how I found out. And next up it has said to move east, then it will again come here, and your final coordinate shall be 0 comma 2. So now your Manhattan distance becomes 2 again. So out of all these three, you need to find out the maximum value, which you can find, which is 3. So 3 is the maximum Manhattan distance which you have to return, right? And if you see that in the earlier case, I actually just forgot to calculate it at every point. Okay, so if here also you try to find out mm, your Manhattan distance in this case, so it shall be first it's proceeding to north by 1 unit, right? So your first Manhattan distance will be 1 only, right? And then it is going to west, so it will again be 1 only. Sorry, it will become 2 because it shall be minus 1 and 1, so it will be 2. And then it comes to south. So at south, your Manhattan distance would be, because your coordinates become minus 1 and 0, right? So it will again get reduced to 1. Okay, and next up it has said to come in east again. So your Manhattan distance becomes 0. So the maximum value this can return is 2, and in this case, after modifying, you are getting 3. So that's how you have to return the maximum Manhattan distance, make up the maximum Manhattan distance after making at most k changes, right? So you can see that after I changed my s to k, s to n, my distance got increased, right? So this is the thing, and this is going to be our approach for this question. Like, you can say that whatever the changes, how many changes you make, actually the net changes becomes twice of it, right? So if it is like n and n is given, right? So your net, you will proceed by two values in the north, right? But if your same value is given n and s, so it shall get cancelled, because first time it's for this only. First time you will increase by 1 and second time it will decrease by 1. So your net position will remain the same, right? But if the same value s was changed to n, your this south value would have actually increased only, right? So your net positional value would have not increased to this. So this is what I'm trying to say, that whatever the changes we make, the our although it's given that we can change in any direction, right? But our main criteria should be for changing n to s or s to n and east to west or west to east. This should be our main criteria for changing, right? And whatever the changes we make, if you are changing north to south or south to north, the net change is actually being done by two values, right? By 2 units. That's the thing we have to see, that you may see that which of them is greater, whether north is greater than south, or south is greater than north, and then you may find out the maximum difference, right? So this is what we are going to do in this question. There's nothing else in it, right? So what I said, that first we need to compute the length of our string, right? And then we need to have our 4 variables to store the frequency of all the 4 characters. Okay, and we need to have one variable to store the maximum distance in every iteration, because in every iteration we are given to find out the maximum difference. That's how it is being done here, you may check, right? So you need to compute this, or update this answer to find out the maximum difference you can in every iteration. And now you need to have one character to extract that particular character at that index and just check that if ch is equal to n, then you need to increment your not, else if it is south, then you need to increment your south, else if it is east, then you need to increment your east, and else you need to increment west. You need to make two differences. I said the net value, the net distance covered in the horizontal, or you may say the x coordinate, right? So math.abs for the horizontal one, that's west minus east or east minus west, both are applicable. And then y, that's for y coordinate, or the net vertical distance that will be found by north minus south. And then you need to have a distance. This would be your Manhattan distance, x plus y, right? Plus, as I said, that whatever the changes you are making, so this shall be 2 into k I'm doing, because if you are making at most k changes, right? So if you made at most k changes, the net value shall actually increase uh, by 2 times of this k value, right? But it could be possible that maybe your strings value is less than it, or maybe up till where you have actually iterated, that value is less than k, so you may get some wrong answers. So for that we need to find out the minimum, right? Minimum of what? Minimum of your distance, what you have found until now, what you have covered, that's I plus 1 distance you must have covered. If you add I is equal to 1, right? So the maximum distance you have covered till now, maximum characters you have iterated till now is 2, right? And maybe the distance you are getting here is 5, right? So here you need to take the minimum possible value so that it doesn't exceed, right? So that's the way only, and you just need to return your answer, and that's all you were required to do. This is accepted, and now submit it, and this is submitted. So it was a good question. You should definitely look to it once again. Till then, yeah, keep practicing. We shall meet tomorrow again with new question. Till then, bye.